I am Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen. But don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. Maybe soft and succulent at the beginning of this process. But hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. This is a Friday show. But it's one of those special Friday shows where we're going to give you guys a lot of information about the grocery store. And the person who's coming in to help me do that is this woman, the beautiful Miss Anna Vocino. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing? How you doing, Pumpkin?
I'm doing great, Pumpkin. You know, when I was thinking about doing this show, I started thinking about the word grocery.
Mm-hmm.
You ever think about the word, what it actually means?
Oh, sure. Are we going to get into a history of grocery stores? Because I'd love to discuss.
Well, yeah, I mean, all right. So here's the deal. As everyone, or a lot of people know, not everyone, I grew up in Cajun country. You know, some people say I'm going to go buy groceries.
Right.
Right. Some people say they're going to do groceries, which I've always found weird because it sounds like you're going to fuck your groceries.
Right.
You know, I'm going to do some groceries.
No, I don't. People don't say that, right?
Yeah.
Say that?
Yeah,
okay.
It's short for I'm going to do grocery shopping.
Right.
All right. Do you know what they say down in Louisiana? Don't look it up. Do you know what they say down in Louisiana?
No.
No idea?
No.
They're going to make groceries.
Oh.
What are you going to do? I'm making grocery.
That makes sense. Here's why I say that.
Go on.
Because in French, they use the word make for a lot of times that they mean do or go. So to me, that would make sense why that would happen.
Now,
if we're using the whole French Creole thing.
Yeah. And everyone down there, I mean, you know, we don't even use the same laws as the rest of the country. You know, they have the Napoleonic Code.
Right.
Which I thought, you know, my cousin Vinny would have been a better movie down there because they could have had more to work with. So the term making grocery is so big down there that, you know, Schwegmans is the big supermarket in New Orleans, right? Like that is the big supermarket. And they advertise on television and they used to do ads and the kick line was making groceries, Schwegman style. You know, I don't know how it's Schwegman style. It's
okay.
And I found this old commercial. Now, folks, it's a bit hard to hear. But, you know, John Schwegman Jr. comes in right at the end because, hey, why not? It's his store. He's going to be on there. I want you to listen to some of the prices here. This is a Thanksgiving. It's a 30-second ad.
Great.
Folks, pay attention to these prices. This is from 1988, I think. Here we go.
Thanksgiving dinner. Ocean Spray Cranberry Sauce, 16 ounces, 59 cents. So top stuffing mixes, just 79 cents. Trappy's whole yams, 85 cents. And Schwegman fleur-de-lis self-basting broad-breasted Thanksgiving turkeys, only 49 cents a pound.
A big family-sized dinner means big family-sized savings when you make Thanksgiving groceries at Schwegman.
Making groceries, Schwegman style, making groceries, Schwegman style.
You know, even he says it, John Schwegman, who is, you know, not, you know, he would never say making grocery, not in his tax bracket. You know, making groceries, you know, it's like, no, that's what us Cajuns said down on the bayou.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes sense.
So yeah, you make groceries down there. So we're talking all about groceries today. Grocery
actually means wholesale originally, but it ain't wholesale when we go to our grocery stores.
Well, you know, I actually looked up the Merriam-Webster dictionary version of it. Let's see if I can find it here.
They say Old English at Merriam-Webster, but then other sources say Old French, which would make sense because gross means fat, which means wholesale grocery.
Yeah. 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 So it's weird. It's weird. You know, so food.
Well, it used to be.
Grocer. That's what it's called. Well, a grocer means that they're a supplier of grocery. You know, so it
used to be a wholesale supplier of goods.
Yeah.
Of dry goods.
Yeah.
And then about the turn of the 20th century, they invented corrugated, and they were able to box stuff up, because it used to be people would go to the what's it called, the general store, and everything would be behind the counter, and you order, you know, half pound of flour, pound of sugar,
Right.
and then you go to the butcher and get your butcher stuff. Then you go to the produce guy and get your produce stuff, which is still very typical in Europe to do that, to go to the different guys.
Yeah.
You go to the baker to get your bread and your things. But then they invented corrugated, and Nabisco, the National Biscuit Company, was one of the first companies to put things into boxes and brand them on the outside. That was like unheard of, branding. And then people were like, "Oh, I'm going to get a box of biscuits. I'm going to get a box of dough, or grain. I'm going to get, you know." And then it kind of all went
on a
there.
shelf. You know,
Right.
look,
And you could pick it out.
I'm 60 years old, and when I was a kid, we never bought milk in a grocery store. It showed up on our step. It
Right.
was just
You had a
magic
guy.
there. And if I was up early enough, I would see the guy who magically put it there, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes he would be leaving my mom's bedroom. I
Oh
don't
no,
understand that
stop.
part.
Don't make a milkman joke about your own mother. What is wrong with you?
Everything is wrong with me.
Everything.
So we got the milk from the milkman. We got eggs from, someone who had eggs down the street, and there was still an ice mill in my town when I was growing up, because some people still had ice boxes, and people still call refrigerators down there an ice box.
My stepmother still calls it an ice box. So.
Yeah, the South still calls it an ice box, because they, by and large, in my childhood, my grandfather, one of them, the one who passed away early, worked at the ice mill, right? Famous story of my Papa Tripodi, my great grandfather. He would bring the ice around on a cart with a mule. And
Jesus Christ.
this is long before me, right?
Yeah.
So this is back in, I guess, during the Depression and the whole thing. He would deliver. He had a cart with a mule with the ice. And one day he was so sick he couldn't get out of bed. So his wife, Mama Virginia is what we called her, Mama Virginia had to go do all the delivery. And she said, "Well, I don't know who's on the list." And Papa told her, "Look, just start down this street. Every time the mule stops, drop some ice off at that house."
Oh my God, that's so funny. The mule knew what the route was.
Yeah, the mule knew the route. The mule, he would just ride, and the mule would stop, and he would,
Oh, what a sweet boy.
he would literally stay on the back of the thing, so he wouldn't have to keep getting on and off. The mule would stop, and he would just deliver the ice.
That's hilarious.
So, my great grandfather had a job that a mule can do. So
let me, can I go on back to a little bit of history of grocery since we're talking?
absolutely, yeah.
So branding happened. We were able to pick things off of the shelf. Then there was a really smart man, and I can't remember his name. By the way, I went deep on the history of grocery. I want you to know that.
I
you know why? Because I'm trying to
get.
get my products into grocery, so I figured I needed to know about it.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, what a storied history in this country that we have at the grocery store with the supermarket. So the grocery store was supposedly wholesale, and supermarket was what Bernard Kroger invented. Anyway, but before Bernard Kroger, there was a man, I can't remember his name, and he was the first time who put it, when you go through IKEA and they take you through that line in IKEA of all the different rooms, and you have to walk through the whole thing in order to get to the end to then pick out what you want to buy.
No, I don't, because I've never been in an IKEA.
Okay. Well, it's like an assembly. I hate it. I haven't been in years, but so there was a man who basically invented a row and put groceries along the shelf, and then gave the housewives a cart and said, "Go on through the line and pick what you want, put it in your cart, and then you'll check out at the end." Now, this was revolutionary. It did not happen that way before. And apparently he referred to it as he was putting the pigs to slaughter, and they came out squealing the other end because they loved being able to do their groceries this way. And he named it the Piggly Wiggly. After that, watching all the housefrows go through the line and just bringing them to slaughter, taking their money. So then Bernard Kroger figured out if he lowered all his margins, he could have what's called a supermarket. Now we have Kroger, which is buying Albertsons, which is the largest chain in the country. So anyway, so when you go to the grocery store, This is why, and I love it on the Facebook group when people are like, oh, I found this brand of bacon, or I found that brand of, sour cream, or this brand of chicken, or whatever. Sometimes there are some brands that you can get nationwide at grocery stores, and there are some brands that will only ever be regional. And there's some brands that are private labeled, meaning,
Right.
They make it. If you see something, for example, at your regular grocery store, and then you see it at Trader Joe's for $1 less, but the packaging looks almost identical, but then it says Trader Joe's special labeling on it, they're doing the same thing, but they're making it for Trader Joe's. There's all sorts of ways that grocery happens in our country, but you just need to know what to look out for to shop for NSNG for your meals, for your family, and what to look for. Now we have NSNG 101 episodes. They're up at Vinny's
Tons
YouTube.
of them. Yeah.
Tons of them. In fact, there's a whole playlist that Debbie has put on YouTube. There's the one from this year, which I think is the best NSNG 101 we've ever done.
I thought
And there's one from last year.
in 2015 was the best, but that's just
We've done many of them. And then the one last year, which is the second best one we've ever, they're both great. So if you have any questions about how to do NSNG and what to eat, those are the most comprehensive. What we're going to talk about today is when you go to the grocery store so that you can just beeline to what it is that you need and not be overwhelmed or confused by all that's available at the supermarket, because there's a lot.
Can I make one more left turn in this conversation? Do you know what a Monroney sticker is?
No.
Never hear of it.
Mm-mm.
Okay. This is kind of what you were talking about. You reminded me of the Monroney sticker. Monroney was a senator, and I want to say he was from like one of the, plain states, like either Kansas or Oklahoma, but one of those. Probably Oklahoma. He was right in the middle of the country. And he figured out, when we first started getting cars, when Ford made, and it figured out an assembly line and cars were more affordable to the average person, then all of a sudden they had to figure out ways to get people to sell cars.
Right.
You know what they did?
What?
They went to people who sold horses.
Ah.
That was the conveyance before cars. And they said, hey, you guys are selling horses, so obviously you can now sell this product. It's
Right.
a horseless carriage. So you ever hear the term horse trading?
Yes.
You see it on commercials still today. Horse trading days at da-da-da Toyota. Horse trading days. They do that because they were, and by the way, Ford would say, look, we're going to sell you this car for $800. And they said, well, what should we retail it for? And Ford said, we just need $800.
Right.
Right.
Y'all figure it out.
Yeah. Monroney figured out some people were paying around $1,500 for a car, double, and some were paying $2,500 for a car.
Okay.
Whatever. I'm making up all of these numbers, folks, but
the margins were not set across the industry.
He had
much like in grocery.
He had a car for one price, and then someone else had a car
right
almost double that price or less or whatever. And they would just kind of size people up, just like you do with horses. How much is a horse worth? Whatever someone's going to pay for it.
Yep.
So Monroney, being a senator, said, you know what? I'm going to get a bill passed saying that every car has to have a sticker on it showing what the wholesale price or at least the retail price. So all cars have to be listed with the sticker, and is commonly known in the car business as the Monroney sticker after the senator who got the bill done. But as you notice, when you walk into a grocery store,
I was going to say there's nothing like that.
Whatever the price is on the item is what you pay.
Right.
And if you go buy almost anything, what's on the thing? But as things get more expensive, like cars, which is probably the second most expensive thing most people buy next to their house,
right.
There's haggling, right? You haggle on a car, you haggle a bit on a house, and people and to a degree, I guess if you go to a high-end furniture store, if you walk in and go, look, I'm not just buying a couch, I'm buying, I'm buying a
whole bedroom set. Yeah.
Yeah. Or can we figure something out? Of course, they're going to give you a deal. If you just walk in and buy one thing, they're not. Right. So there's always haggling to get you to buy more stuff there. but a car is one of the few places where the single thing, you're buying the single thing, and we still horse trade on cars.
Right.
Right. But everybody knows what the playing field is. Matter of fact, that's been skewed or skewered a bit in the past couple of years.
Sure. And new business models have come out where it's just pay what it is, and there's no negotiating. And
well, what happens now is since the internet came around, everybody thinks they know what the price of a car is because they can pretty much look up, oh, this is real wholesale for it and the whole thing. So the car companies, to help the dealerships out, they do something called holdback, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll say this is the price of the car, and they'll sell it to them for that. And then once they sell the car, they will give them more money.
Right.
So the customer is still the customer thinks they're outsmarting the dealership, but they're not.
No.
You know, you ever noticed everyone tells you now, dude, they sold me this car for like 500 below their cost.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they got balls of steel now. Everybody got a car 500 below cost.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude,
sure.
I got this car at cost. Really? That's how they keep that multi-million-dollar business going, is because they sold you something below what they paid for it. What are they going to make it up in volume? No. Always know, folks, if you're making that statement, you look stupid to the person you just made it to, or at the very least, ignorant.
Somebody listening to this just went through it, and they're like, "Oh man, Vinny, why you gotta bust me open like that?"
I thought I just got something at $500 below cost. And here's the one other thing I'm going to tell you about buying anything. If you buy something and you also borrow money on it, you've now bought two things. You bought the object and you bought money. And Anna and I have always threatened to do a show because Anna and I have a whole thing about finances and how not to spend money. But that's a whole different thing. But in stores, we're going to go through that.
Well, guess what doesn't horse trade?
What's that?
Grocery stores.
You're wrong.
Well, they horse trade with the brands.
They do, but here's the deal.
They bent me over a few times.
Listen, I've learned it takes a while to get to this. But, you know, like now I'm a senior, I'm 60, right? Mm-hmm. So at Teeter's on Thursday, we get an extra 5% off. They want to get people in on Thursday, right? Extra 5%. Here's something else we figured out. Meat goes on sale, and when I say meat, also fish and everything else. Meat goes on sale at different times throughout the week at different stores.
Right.
Right. It's up to you to figure out when they're going to put what on sale. Right. Serena and I sometimes will get like a 2.5 pound porterhouse. Now, both of us can eat that porterhouse, and it's $10. And it's a great.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
2 pounds.
Why would you go to a steakhouse and spend $75 to $90 on that porterhouse when you can get it for $10?
And by the way, it would be $75 per pound. So it would be $150.
Right, that's true. Steaks are insane right now at restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah. At your house, you could get these things. We have places we go to on the days when we know they're going to. I know when Teeter's going to have a sale on ground beef.
Yep.
When they're 80-20 ground beef, I know when to go there. I know when to go to Ivy Provisions over here to get their steaks. I know when to go get sausage over here at Whole Foods. We know every store in the area and how to save money. And folks, it's going to take you a little time. You're going to go, what? Yeah. You think I got all the hours in the day? No, we didn't either. We just started noticing that when we caught a sale, like everything else, jot it down.
And okay, so let me piggyback on this by saying the sales that you are talking about with meats are going to be store sales. Okay.
Right.
You can read the circulars. You can see what's going on. We're not talking about clipping coupons because very rarely, yes, I'll always get the membership card of whatever store you're at. Or if you happen to be out of town, ask them if they'll ring up a membership price for you. So you don't have to join every single store's thing, but usually the cashier will be like, "Oh, you're only in town here. Let me just ring you up under my sister's Safeway card and they'll give you the discount." But I will say this, coupons are for dry goods, center store goods, stuff that has larger margins. Coupons are provided by the manufacturer of those of those products. Okay. That not the store. The store, whenever they put something on sale, the meats, that's store wide, but everything else, like in the circular, even if you see Eat Happy Kitchen on sale for $1 off, that's me doing what's called a TPR, a temporary price reduction. Right. So you'll see some things that you like and obviously buy them when they do go on sale, but usually coupons are made by giant corporations, Dow Chemical, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Nestle. What are the big ones? Kraft. And there'll be a few things that you'll use doing NSNG, but honestly, it won't be as many. So if you're used to clipping coupons, it's not going to happen as much. It just isn't. So what Vinny says is really important to look for when there's stuff on sale. Produce won't go on sale that often. It just is one of those things that just doesn't go on sale that often. So I would suggest finding a place that has good produce, for good prices. Because some places have a great produce department, but you can just tell it's so expensive. Yeah. Whole Foods being one of those. Gorgeous, beautiful produce department that's going to be more expensive. But so when you're doing NSNG, we know meats, vegetables, low glycemic fruits, avocado, tomato, cucumber. You can do throw in some zucchini, squashes, some onions, things like that. You're going to be buying things like that to make for your dinner, meat being the focal point. You're going to focus on full fat dairy, which is another thing that rarely goes on sale, but when it does, if you can buy it, great. I know some people freeze their dairy. I'm always hesitant to do that because I feel like it's not going to thaw back the same way. Y'all feel free to write me on the Twitter and correct me if it works for you. I buy heavy cream as it comes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the same way. We go to the store often enough when you're buying fresh meat all the time. But as Anna said, none of the stuff you're going to really want is going to ever be in a circular. That's why it's important. Look, it's easy to keep a pen and a little pad or just a couple of slips or an old, I use envelopes. I don't like to waste. So envelopes that come in the mail, I just take them and split them open and throw them in my car. And we make note. And I know it's like, what is this guy like an old guy? Was he living on a pension? No, I'm not. I'm still working for a living. I'm just not going to overpay for something that I can pay almost half price or at least 1/3 at the, 1/4, 1/3 off. And when it comes to meat, in today's world, that is a huge savings. And every time I do a consult with people, Anna, they'll say, we got 3 kids. We just can't afford. We can't do. And in every case, I'll say, look, how many grocery stores are in your town? And if they live in big cities, they have multiple, because now you have Sprouts and Whole Foods and everything else. Right. So
let me explain a little bit about the margin too.
Go on.
So, because you said Sprouts and Whole Foods, which both honestly compete for the same customer.
Right.
Sprouts might be a little more of a bargain hunter. Whole Foods might be a little more of the, I don't have to look at the prices as much. If you're like stereotyping the shopper at each one of those places, but really very similar crossover. So I'm going to use an example of a pint of ice cream, which you're not going to buy on NSNG. If you buy a pint of Van Leeuwen ice cream, which is a trendy kind of ice cream based out of New York City, in Whole Foods, it will be between $11 and $14 for the pint.
Whoa. For a pint?
For a pint.
What's in it?
It's ice cream. But this is my point I'm going to illustrate. No, this is my point I'm going to illustrate. You could get that same pint of ice cream at Sprouts for $8.99. That is
what are people paying for like a Ben and Jerry's
that's what it costs here.
$8.
If you could find a pint of ice cream for $5, it's good for you. But I'm using ice cream as a thing because it's one of those things that you and I haven't bought in forever, and it does sound expensive. But here's what I'm talking about when I say
that
margin.
Is expensive for a pint of dairy.
Yeah, and sugar and custard. Yes, so it's frozen custard. That's all it is. It's delivered frozen, so that's a pain in the ass. I would never get into the frozen business. It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
The grocery business is bad enough. Imagine having to do fresh or frozen. No way.
Couldn't.
No, it's awful. So the manufacturer, meaning the brand, is selling the product to a distributor. All of these grocery stores, they buy from distributors. There's 2 main distributors in the whole nation. When they place an order, they place an order for everything that's low in the store. Now, some stores have it all systematized, where if the SKU is low in the inventory system, it will automatically reorder. Other times they have people there. You see checking things, they scan the things. You'll see people stocking the shelves and doing whatnot. It all depends on the store. So the store buys from the distributor, right?
Right.
Stores mark up anywhere from, let's say, Publix's markup is 30%. Gelson's markup is 47%. Some stores markup as high as 50 to 55%. So that's why you can see something. Now, by the way, I'm not even factoring in each store negotiates a separate markup from the distributor. So Whole Foods might negotiate a 30% markup. I'm sorry, from the distributor. There's a price that's 30%, where that distributor might be selling the same thing over there for 15% markup. So that's why prices are so different when you go to these places, and we have no control over that. So that's why I say there's no horse trading there. Your horse trading is going to be you just being a smart shopper.
Yeah, knowing where to go to buy
being
stuff.
educated, and by the way, Vinny and I always say this: you are limited as to what's available in your area, what you can economically afford. So don't feel upset. Just work the system as much as you can, make a nice meal for yourself, and call it a day, and know that you're doing a good job. We're just trying to give you some hints and some tips about going to the grocery store.
And Anna, by the way, I don't want to leave out Trader Joe's when it comes to cheese.
I'm going to get to Trader Joe's.
Okay, so we're going to do a whole Trader Joe's section, but one of the things is in LA, I would buy meat. Now, it was always cheaper cuts of meat. Nonetheless, it was meat from Mexican markets and some of these markets. Yeah, so
their produce is great too, and a quarter of the price.
Yeah, it's like it's like when people go, "Oh, we can't afford meat in LA," and I'm like, "How about you go to a Mexican market?
Go to Vallarta, you'll get it there."
Yeah, exactly. We have one in the valley, and I would just go there. And again, the meat wasn't the same great cut, but you were paying literally half or 1/4 of the price, and you were getting all the great protein and everything else.
Yep. And by the way, I feel like I have loved going to grocery stores. Every time I travel, I like going to markets, grocery stores, and bougie stores everywhere I go. And so I should have seen the writing on the wall at a very young age that I would eventually get into this business, because I love these places. And by the way, I had a great time. Thank you, Seattle, for turning up to the West Seattle Thriftway. We sold out all of the product in less than 2 hours, and that's because of you guys. So thank you. And we're adding more chains every day. So I'm planning more trips around. So y'all turn up. It was awesome. Great meetup. So when, okay, I know we're going to talk about Trader Joe's, but the margins are going to be different. That's why things will look different. So we're focusing on meats, vegetables, full fat dairy. Some brands you'll find, like Horizon Organics, is in a lot of stores nationwide, because Horizon has figured out a logistics and infrastructure where they source product from multiple farmers across the nation, and they're able to bottle it. I don't know what the word is in the fluid industry. They're able to put it in the milk cartons with the Horizon or red and white label on it,
right?
But they're being made at different places, different places all around the country. So you'll see some, but then other times you'll see, oh, well, we just have, what is it? Mayfield is that one, or Mayflower is one here. And then there's Altadena is only going to be in California. You're only going to see certain
Borden's down in Louisiana.
Borden's, yep. Borden's in the South. And so you're going to only see these different brands in different places. And I'm not as familiar with the Midwest stuff, but y'all have your own brands, especially of cheeses. Meats, cheeses. So it's easier to get cured meats sent around the country. So you'll see a lot of cured meats, but definitely different, and also different regional cuts as well. I've talked a lot about the tri-tip, which is now kind of making its way from California to other places, which is a cut of sirloin. So when you're talking about what else on the edge of the store are we missing? Eggs. You're going to get
heavy cream. We mentioned, look, everyone, we started talking about this early on, Anna and me, when we had a show 11 years ago. We would just tell people, just when you start doing NSNG, shop around the perimeter. And everyone's picked up on that. Now everyone just shop around the perimeter.
Shop around the perimeter. We're like, yeah, duh.
That was an Anna Vocino thing from the beginning.
You will go inside the perimeter of the store, though, because you will buy things like nuts. You will buy things like condiments. You will buy things like spices.
Think about,
Salts.
and when I go
Olive oil.
when I go into the store, what do you think I go down the center aisle for? Think about
Salt. Maldon.
it. I get that. Yes, I used to do that, but I get that now through Amazon. It's on a loop.
Oh yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Keep sending me
Maldon
Maldon.
now I have Redmond near me, so I love it.
Yeah,
I get my
but
Redmond.
we keep it for cooking. I keep nothing but Redmond. So we
Yeah.
have a ton of Redmond. I get that from all my salt comes from Amazon. I
Interesting.
know that sounds weird, but because I go down and check the coffee aisle.
Oh yeah,
because
coffee.
I have a coffee company.
Coffee or tea, depending on
And
if you want. Yeah.
I want to see, like, if I see something from Ethiopia or I'll see something from Tanzania or somewhere else, I'll go, oh, let me see. And a lot of times I can see, oh, they got the same beans I have.
Sure.
And then I'll taste their roast. And go, ooh, they went a little darker on this. And then I'll start playing around and seeing if I can get that roast. So I
Listen,
buy.
that's good.
People go, oh,
Competition is
for
healthy.
coffee, right? And it's like, no, I go taste. And when I see something from any company, and every region has a different. It's not just Blue Bottle or Stumptown or Black Rifle or whatever. I'll go find all of them.
Right.
Intelligentsia. I'll go taste it. And
Yep.
they got this from Hawaii. Let me see what they're doing there. I like tasting other people's coffee.
I forgot about coffee and tea. Obviously, tomato sauce, if you're going to use tomato sauce in anything. Yeah. So condiments, let's talk about that for a second, because you do condiments and anything where they could possibly add anything to it. I would put heavy cream on that list because they add all the gums and things. You really got to read the back of the label, even if you think it's done. So we talk about having mustard, vinegars, tomato sauce, things that are pre-made are totally okay to use. Oh, olives, jarred olives, pepperoncini, pickles, gherkins, things like that you're going to use to add flavor elements. Acid is great. You want to have some vinegars on hand. You want to be making some marinades and some dressings, and acid is good for you. It's good to have some vinegar in there. And also it helps cut the richness, because sometimes NSNG can be very rich and the acid is helping you to cut that stuff. So make sure you're just checking labels for no sugar added. That's really the main thing. You want to look for no sugar added. And also on bacon and any cured meats, you want to minimize the sugar added. Dextrose. What else do they put in there? Maltodextrin. What else do they use to cure the bacon?
They'll put
sugar.
That and God, what's the other one they put? They'll put not any kind of lactate, but they'll put oh God, why is my mind doing this?
Well, let me say this too. How you cure bacon is you put a mixture of sugar and salt around a piece of pork belly, and then they put that over the smoker. They let it cure, and they do it for a certain amount of time, and then they brush it all off, and then they slice it and they pack the bacon at the meat packing facility. So when they count some sugar, when you see sugar listed in the ingredients, but you see 0 grams of carbs on the nutritional label, that's generally what's happening. They are now wise to the no sugar added thing. So a lot of places will now cure bacon without the sugar. So you can even find that on the label. But if you can't find it, that's what's happening with the curing process. Now, if it's a maple bacon or a honey bacon, steer clear.
That stuff,
it's trash.
Who would eat that crap? I mean,
it's not. I don't like sweet meats. I've never liked sweet meats.
I got somewhere by accident. I was at someone's house and it was on my plate. And I was like, oh my god. Now here's the other thing.
Yeah.
If you can find a butcher that's making bacon there,
yeah, like Jim's,
you're welcome. And a lot of butchers, I know butchers are going by the wayside, right? And everything is just butcher shops within a grocery store. And even some of those will do bacon in the store. But when you find a good butcher that's doing a good bacon right in the store, they're making it there, you will never go back to an Oscar Mayer, Jimmy Dean, whatever. Yeah. Whoever's making bacon. You'll never go back to that crap.
Jimmy Dean, if you don't have access, Jimmy Dean does have a couple of sausage blends that don't have any added sugar. You can but you have to read the labels for the cured meats and the process. Anything, by the way, the definition of anything processed is something that has more than one ingredient. So I know we say all processed foods are bad, but that's not actually true. You just have to read the labels and make sure that you're okay.
But
I
you're
would
better off eating fresh meat.
Eat
over
fresh meat.
processed.
Oh, absolutely. Eat fresh meat and vegetables, but you're going to buy condiments. You're going to buy spice mixes. You're going to buy things that will hopefully make your life easier in the kitchen. You don't have to do every single thing from scratch. I even considered planting horseradish and growing it and making my own prepared horseradish. And then I saw, after going down the rabbit hole of some gardening websites, what a royal pain in the ass that is. I do like the Bubby's horseradish is one of the ones that I can find that doesn't have any crap in it. There's a lot of crap in these things, but a lot of my recipes come out of, like, my recipe for Thousand Island dressing and my recipe for cocktail sauce and ketchup. Even though I personally don't eat a lot of ketchup, it's very rare I have ketchup. I do understand that it's real life and people are going to want to make some ketchup. So there's a recipe for that and eat happy too. Now it's going to use the least amount of sugar possible. And I use the sugar from fruit. It's still sugar though. So just know that you're probably going to avoid ketchup. You're probably going to avoid barbecue sauce. You're probably going to avoid a lot of bottled dressings. I really strongly recommend you make your own dressing unless you happen to find dressings that don't have one of the seed oils. And by that, I mean canola oil, soybean oil, cottonseed, sunflower, safflower, corn oil, or just vaguely titled vegetable oil.
Corn oil, soybean oil are both.
Yeah, I would avoid all of those. So dressings, mayonnaise, you want to stick to avocado oil and olive oil. I know Chosen Foods has a really good MCT oil mayonnaise that actually I think has a good flavor profile. There are some avocado oil mayonnaises that I think taste horrible, and I'm not going to mention them on the air, but you'll know when you buy them and try them.
And go back a second. You mentioned because I can no longer find a horseradish that doesn't have.
It was called Bubby's prepared horseradish.
How's that spell?
Like Bubby, like Bubbie '. That one's okay. Now, could it be that I've just found that in SoCal? Could it be a local brand? I'm not sure.
I'm going to look it up.
But it might be on Amazon.
I'm at a point now where I cannot find any horseradish in the store.
No, it all has crap in it.
It's got, oh my God, it's got seed oils, it's got all kinds of crap. And
yeah,
I just, I told Serena, it's like, I love, we have like roast beef or something like that. I like a little horseradish on the plate. You cannot find anything.
Oh, I love horseradish whisked in with some creme fraiche, and you got the horsey sauce.
Oh, we do that kind of stuff all the time with meat and everything else, just mix it.
And by the way, all that cocktail sauce is a little bit of ketchup, a lot of lemon juice, and horseradish. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Also spices, you'll want to, obviously I sell spice mixes, so I'm deep in the knowledge of what they do to spices and how they don't label it. So always read the labels on the spices and then still hope that they're clean.
Yeah.
It is interesting too, now knowing what I know about food labeling, how many food labels are breaking the law and they seem to never get busted. And here's little Miss Rule Follower over here. Anyway, so those are kind of some things, but I do want to talk about Trader Joe's. There's a book called The History of Grocery, and the guy goes into the history of Trader Joe's, and I actually found it very fascinating, but then again, I'm a grocery nerd. But the guy was the first one who said, hey, why don't we get all of these, Seattle blueberries that are coming up? Because I think he started in Pacific Northwest or oh, no, he was in California. He was in SoCal. But
I watched a documentary on the guy a few years ago. It was almost the way I started Pure Vitamin Club. I stole from his playbook. He was like, there are sophisticated people in the middle class, like school teachers, right, in the late 1960s or whatever. Mm-hmm. These people are educated. They want wine. They want fine wines, and they want wine and cheese and all this kind of stuff. They know what it is, but they don't have the income to afford it.
Right.
What if I can get them the wine at a great price, finer wines at great prices, and cheeses at better prices, and they can have what everyone else has at a better price. That's how Trader Joe's got started.
Well, he first started with there was a boatload of excess fruit from the Pacific Northwest. I believe it was blueberries. And that was the first time that he basically said, here's a crap ton of amazing fruit, and marked it way down. And he was very into seasonal items, and then realized that he could start to get this stuff for less money. And it still holds true to this day. Their cheese department is unparalleled for the price. Like, I just don't, if you have a Trader Joe's, there's no other place to buy cheeses. And if you don't have a Trader Joe's, you don't have a Trader Joe's. Vinny, I hadn't been to Trader Joe's in 4 years.
Why?
And because they don't have one near here.
Oh, wow.
And then somebody said they built one up in Santa Maria, which is 30 miles north of me. I went to Santa Maria and I went to that Trader Joe's. And first of all, I was used to Toluca Lake and Studio City Trader Joe's where people are running over you. You know what I mean? Like they're so tiny and they're bonkers all the time. Or the Trader Joe's that's in Union Square in New York it's insane. Like the line snakes around the whole store and then snakes around down the street, like to another block all the time. And it's crazy. And so I go up to this Trader Joe's and it's got aisle space and people are walking with you can have 7 carts wide on one aisle. And it was, I literally was like I had a moment in Trader Joe's and I spent $150 and got 3 completely full bags of groceries and the most gorgeous gladioli.
I think it's still
No, it's gladiolus. US is how it's spelled. So gladioluses.
One of those. And I got to say, I have reignited my love affair with Trader Joe's. But if y'all say, when is Eat Happy Kitchen going to be in Trader Joe's? The answer is never, because we can't manufacture that way. And they didn't have a pasta sauce in there for over $3.49 a jar. I bought at Wegmans a big chunk of Parmigiana. And it was a big chunk. So it was like $19. I go to Trader Joe's a few days later and I see a nice sized chunk and it's a fraction of that. So I went,
$8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not even that, but it was a smaller. So I came home and I did the math on price per ounce.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the Trader Joe's still came in at like 45% less per ounce than the other. So I said per ounce. Yeah, because I had to figure out, because I bought a big chunk for $20 over there. Right. I bought a smaller chunk and it was a fraction of the cost, $7 or $6. So I did a per ounce comparison. It was 35 or 45% less Trader Joe's. I said, Serena, I want you to lop off a piece from each of these. Don't tell me which is which.
Mm-hmm.
Just put them there and just let me eat them. Couldn't tell the difference.
Well, they're probably the same cheese. This is what I'm saying to you.
Yeah. It's like I'm sitting there going, wow, Trader Joe's is closer to me. It's 45% less money. And I cannot tell the difference.
For those of you out there who think it's crazy that I spent $150 for just 3 full bags of groceries, by the way, they're big paper bags. It wasn't like the small plastic ones. Where I live, one bag is $150.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. So I got to really watch it.
I think all over the nation has gotten nuts like that.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't judge anybody on what they want to spend money on. Groceries are my thing. I don't have jewelry. I don't have shoes. I don't have handbags. I'm not that gal, but I will spend money on nice olive oil, Villa Cappelli, nice meats, within reason. I will say I was at Gelson's, and no shade on Gelson's, because I'm very happy that we're on the shelf there. I think Eat Happy Kitchen sauces are doing well there, and they're the only ones who are carrying the spicy in a store. So I'm very happy that they picked that flavor up. But I was in there, and the French cut lamb lollies, how they cut them nice. So
yeah.
I love those so much. It's almost like a standing rib roast, but they've cut them and then they French the bone, and it looks really pretty. And I was like, oh great, I'm going to make lamb lollies, because there's a recipe that I love to make lamb lollies with, marinating and put them on the grill.
Yeah.
And it was $40 a pound.
Oh.
At Gelson's. So this 2-pound bag of lamb lollies was $80. And I was like, no, I'm good.
I couldn't be comfortable.
Now listen, I'll spend money on stuff like dumb money, but then I was like, oh God, I can't do it. I love you, Gelson's, but I can't do it.
I'm in pain. Anna, let's do a Villa Cappelli ad.
Yeah.
And then I want to play something for you on our way out here.
Okay.
All
Did
right?
we do it? We talked about groceries.
Yeah,
if you guys have
did.
more questions, write us more questions. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here when I say I'm pretty sure here's the contest that we're working on. It's only going to be in SoCal, but we want to hopefully replicate it when I go to other markets, when the sauces get in other markets. We're figuring out what the contest is, but the contest is going to be, the grand prize is Anna takes you grocery shopping. We don't know the amount yet. We haven't figured it out, but So I'm really excited to like do this and get in there with the people, and we film like us taking a shopping trip and we figure out how to shop for NSNG. So if you guys think that's fun, let me know. Villa Cappelli is the best olive oil on the planet. One thing you will not find at the grocery store, unfortunately, is Villa Cappelli olive oil. Have I asked Steven if he could please get into grocery stores? I have. Have I asked Steven to come join us? He can share a booth with us at the Fancy Food Show so he can get some grocery contacts? I have. He has said no. You know why? Because the grocery business is crazy if you haven't figured that out by now at this podcast. But Villa Cappelli, you can still get it by mail order, villacappelli.com. Cappelli is spelled with 2 P's and 2 L's. They make the best olive oil on the planet. They have flavored oils, no sugar. They have salts. They have all kind of wonderful things waiting for you at their website, but the oil is the main draw. Vinnie and I always say, use the discount code Vinnie, VINNIE. You will get 10% off your order each and every time you order from Villa Cappelli. We always recommend to get your shopping cart somewhere around $145 so that when you use the discount code Vinnie, you get 10% off, but you still qualify for free shipping, because shipping is expensive, and it is a reality of when you order things online. So you might not find things at your local grocery store. You can order them online, but make sure you get the free shipping. I know you guys will. You guys are savvy shoppers like we are. You want to do that. Villa Cappelli olive oil. Go to villacappelli.com or click through the banner ad at vinnietortorich.com and get you some. It's delicious.
All right. So Anna, remember we were doing a show for the Monday show, and I was telling you, yeah, I'm going to make this, I already have some sausage cut up, and
yes,
I'm going to put the burrata on it and the whole thing. Well, it turns out I get in the kitchen last night, and there are 2 things missing. Number one, I have no burrata, but I do have a big chunk of just mozzarella. Right?
Okay. Well, that's good.
I can shred that up. And then I didn't have any pink crema, but I did have a few puttanescas left.
Oh, good.
So
that's great with sausage.
And I kept looking. It's like, wait, I think I have an arrabbiata, and I just kept looking. I don't. So I was like, oh, okay. So I did this. I'm going to show you. This is going to be my Instagram tomorrow. All right. So can you see this photo? Like if I hold it like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I'm
looks good.
I'm going to play it for you in the audience.
Oh, good.
I'm doing this because I want you to know, I put this meal together. Now, the sausage was made by Serena the day before. She knew she was leaving town, and she made like 10 or 12 links of Italian sausage and just put it in the fridge because she knew somehow I would get to it. This meal that you're getting ready to see, and you'll see it on Instagram, you would have to, from this show, you would have to go back about a week or so to see it. This took me less than 5 minutes of my time to put together.
I love it.
Okay.
You spend more time at the grocery store picking out the meat than you do actually assembling everything.
Yeah. Now the meat was already cooked. All I had to do,
it doesn't take long to cook some sausage.
I cooked the sauce. No, but what I'm saying, this is a 5-minute meal. I just chopped it into, medallions.
Right.
I threw your sauce on top. I shredded cheese on top of that, popped it in the microwave for 2 minutes, checked it, needed another minute, popped it in for another minute. This was a delicious meal. As a matter of fact, I have a half a jar of your stuff left, of that puttanesca. I'm doing this meal again tonight because I have enough sausage to do it again. But here it is. I'm going to play it for you in the audience. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm a bachelor tonight. Quick and easy meal. We have Italian sausage with Anna Vocino's Eat Happy Kitchen puttanesca. And here's what I did. I made a bunch of sausages yesterday. I had leftovers. I cut up 5 of these, chopped them up, put them in here, threw Anna's sauce right on top, shredded up some mozzarella, put that on in the microwave, 2 minutes, bada bing, bada boom. There you have it, folks. Stay motivated. Okay.
Oh my God, Vinnie, I love it.
Look, I mean, people go, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. I lied a little bit. I said I cooked these sausages yesterday. Serena did it, right?
Yeah.
She was making fish, in the oven. She had the oven on anyway. She was baking some salmon. And I guess she figured, oh, Vinny's going to be here for a few days before he comes and meet me at the beach. Let me just throw this in. He'll make easy work out of it. She probably thought I'd put it in my breakfast thing, make a frittata or something. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, hey.
A bad idea. I wonder if I can, Anna, I wonder if I can make a frittata.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on.
You can make a frittata with anything.
put the sausage in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then heat up the rest of the puttanesca. Or that on top.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I might be doing something different tonight
Okay.
because I'm going to be coming back from rowing class and I'm going to be hungry.
You're going to be hungry.
Yeah, I'm going to need a frittata.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
So my next cookbook coming out is low carb Italian. And when you get regular old school Italian cookbooks, they don't have a breakfast chapter. Of course, I did a breakfast chapter because I'm selling my book to Americans.
Right.
But it's really funny because Italians eat eggs for lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
So they eat a frittata is not a breakfast food for them. It's a dinner food. So what you're doing to me makes perfect sense.
Yeah, my Uncle Frank, my great uncles, you know, they were my grandfather's brothers, Frank and Joe and all those guys. They would come over, you know, to the house, you know, at night. You know, they didn't have families; they were old bachelors and the whole thing. It's like, hey, Uncle Frank, you guys want something to eat? No, we ate. What did you have? I fried an egg.
Yeah.
I mean, these are Depression era, you know, babies, and I just had an egg. I'm good. And you know, they all died as lean as they were when they were teenagers.
Wow.
And by the way, they all made it to a ripe old age.
That's awesome.
You know, so there you have it, folks. If you want to be like the old Tortorich men, start frying an egg at night. Boom, you'll be good.
In butter.
Yeah, they didn't. There was no Crisco or you know
No Pam. They didn't spray the
always,
Pam on the.
It was either lard or tallow or butter hanging around.
Right,
You know, there was no. These people, like I said, when I was a kid, we still had eggs delivered and milk delivered, and butter. All that was delivered. When I was a kid, I would see like
That's pretty amazing.
Fleshman's margarine. It doesn't have cholesterol. I would see these commercials and I was like, I don't even know what that is. What is Fleshman's margarine? We had
I think
butter.
it's Fleischmann's, by the way.
Okay, whatever. Never had to read the word.
I'm just saying Fleischmann.
I just remember I remember the old commercials. Yeah, we would see. You want some Cool Whip? It's already made. Cool.
I never understood Cool Whip. I always thought that was gross.
My grandmother would just woo. You know,
and I'll eat some gross shit back in the day, but that was gross.
Never. That's another food I've never had. Cool Whip. Never had it.
You're not missing anything.
You know, I just figured it was whipped cream in a container. It turns out it's a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Not good for you. Right.
Oh, when I was watching the history of food and they said how Miracle Whip was developed, you guys never put that in your mouth. I will flat out let Miracle Whip sue us. It was basically they were trying to invent shelf stable mayonnaise and they did, but it's expensive because it has eggs in it. So what Miracle Whip did was come up with technology to remove the egg, but keep the same texture.
Mm-hmm.
So they could not call it mayonnaise because at its heart, it didn't have egg yolk in it.
Oh, so Miracle Whip.
So Miracle Whip is a imitation. It's like what the margarine is to butter. It's the margarine of mayonnaise.
You know what I thought it was?
What?
I thought it was a different Cool Whip, like the competition.
No, it's savory. It's savory like mayonnaise.
I'm sorry, I just didn't.
And then Cool Whip, of course, is the margarine of heavy whipping cream.
Isn't it amazing? At 60, I still don't know what all these. I remember seeing them on television because
Cool Whip was always like so rich and scary. I didn't like it. When my mom would make, when she would actually whip heavy whipping cream, that was like such a treat. Like, be like, yeah, I want that.
Well, it was always being whipped. There was always
it wasn't in my house. But she also wouldn't spend money on Cool Whip either. So
my grandmother made cakes. We had cakes, you know, all the time. You know, she was always either making Italian cookies or cakes. So whenever we ate a treat, it was a cannoli. Or
that's a pretty good treat. Jesus.
Right. But and it came like on Sunday. You understand? It wasn't
a daily thing
there every day. We didn't have Little Debbie's or something. I remember every now and again, my mom would buy Little Debbie devil food cakes. And she would literally say, you eat these in the house, and they were hidden. You do not tell your grandmother. I mean, my mother did not be a bad mother, but she wanted us to be like other kids too. That occasionally got a treat. We didn't have Little Debbie's all the time. Like it came into the house like contraband.
That's
Right.
funny.
And there was, well, Mark probably wasn't born yet. You know, he's the youngest, but 1, 2, 3, there was 3 of us, my parents was 5. That was almost a whole Little Debbie, and we would enjoy it together. And it was like, now go brush your teeth. It was like, go brush your
Oh
teeth.
my God.
Yeah, I don't tell your grandmother about this. It was like contraband, right? You couldn't tell the general what the sergeant was doing. It just it was literally, you've seen the show Everybody Loves Raymond, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of the deal.
Amazing.
My grandmother was just always, you know, on my mom.
Yeah. Well, that sounds on brand. Italian grandmothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
All right.
Anna
we did it.
Vocino's got books.
We talked about it.
Yeah,
You talk
she's
about
got
your
everything.
stuff.
Go get it. Blah, 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 blah. Debbie wants me to tell you guys we have the NSNG newsletter. You can book a consult with me if you'd like. Yes, it's me who will pick up the phone and call you, and not some other person that does the Vinnie thing or whatever, the Vinnie diet, which doesn't actually exist. On behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.